Hi, this is Pat with Energy Solution Partners sharing with you our energy market view on Tuesday, April 22nd. Keep in mind there is a risk of loss when trading commodity futures and options. I'm going to spend most of the time today talking about gasoline and more so some of the things going on in our local market. But I did want to start out by showing a little snapshot here of the crude oil stocks and what crude prices have done since the first of the year. If you look on the chart to the left, the crude oil stocks here in the U.S., we are at some very lofty levels and well above the 5-year average. And you can see how we've grown these crude stocks just since the first of the year. But at the same time, if we look on the right-hand side what the prices have done, even though we've grown crude stocks inventory levels, we've watched these crude oil prices increase by about $12 a barrel. And some of the thought process behind this, a lot of the crude stocks have grown down on the Gulf Coast, but we have drawn the high levels of inventory down in Cushing, Oklahoma. But we'll want to keep an eye on this as the Gulf Coast now is at record inventory levels on crude. We're going to want to watch and see if we start backing that up back into Cushing, and when that starts to happen, we could be open to some selling here on the crude market, but we'll continue to monitor that, and we're not calling for any sort of top yet, but something that we do have on our radar and we'll want to keep an eye on. The other thing that's going on with pricing is tied to the products. If we look at the gas and diesel inventories, it looks the opposite of what the crude chart looks like. We're at the bottom of the 5-year average, or actually below the bottom of the 5-year average on both gasoline and diesel stocks. So we are sitting at some low inventory levels on the gas and diesel products. If we drill into that gas inventory a little bit on that low inventory level overall in the U.S., we'll bring it a little closer to home here in the PADD 2, which is the Midwest inventories. In this red line would be 2014 levels, and so you can see PADD 2 is at some very low inventory levels as well. And the green line here would be where we were a year ago. So we're well below a year ago levels in the PADD 2 market. So this is something that we'll want to keep an eye on here as we do head into the driving season in the low inventory levels that we do have here in the Midwest. As we look at these low inventory levels, the one thing we will want to be aware of or concerned about is going to be the basis market. So I put together this Minneapolis basis chart, the rack basis where it's been. A seasonal chart, you can look at the number of different years that are in here. But currently 2014, and we are at some very low basis levels. Been running 27 to 30 cents below what the futures have been running for a rack basis. And part of the reason for this is the purging of the winter spec product that needs to be purged out of the terminal system here, getting ready for the summer spec product. And you can see what the history has been. We don't really have to focus on the individual years here, but you can kind of see what has taken place as we've rolled out of April into May in these gas basis levels have typically risen as we do come into the unofficial start, I guess, of the driving season. If you want to look at this in more detail, give me a holler or drop me a note. I'd be happy to send this to you, and you can pull it up and take a look at it. If we look at something in the Chicago market, looks very similar to this chart. So whether you're pulling your product out of the group market or the Chicago market, pretty much the same principles are going to apply here. So with that, it looks like we could have some opportunity here for some basis purchases. While we can't buy forward basis contracts anywhere near where these low rack prices are, I do think there's some opportunity here for some appreciation in the gas basis. So if you're not familiar with how the basis contracts work or want some more information on that, give me a call. Be happy to go through that with you and kind of stack up your local rack, what that might look like. But just looking at the seasonality here, it does look the seasonality along with the low inventory levels in PADD 2 does look like we might have some opportunities here. As we look now at the futures part of the gas equation, have a little opposite feeling of what I'm feeling in the basis market. Well, I do feel that there could be some opportunity here for some basis appreciation. I'm concerned that the futures might be getting a little bit toppy here. We've had a nice run again on the gas futures. Um, and as we look at this weekly chart and going down to the stochastics, we have now moved into this overbought condition, which again, typically when we get in that overbought condition, especially on a weekly chart, um, it does leave the market a little ripe for some selling, kind of built a bubble into this. And to go along with this, don't often share this, but if we look at the bottom here, uh, this is the open interest, the number of contracts that are outstanding. And we've really grown the open interest here in the RBOB over the last several weeks, and it's just been adding to this open interest since the first of the year again as we've watched the prices increase. We're not at record levels by any means on the open interest, but we have run up pretty good. The open interest, more outstanding contracts as the market has been rising, is telling us that a lot of new money has come in here. And with the stochastics now in the overbought condition that they're in, again, it could be a little bubblish here that so much money has come in here, and at some point it will be taken back out of this market. So with the big run we've had on the future side of the gas market, we haven't seen that all reflected in your rack prices because of that weak basis that I showed you on the previous slide. Um, I do think we could see some selling on the future side, but on the flip side of that, I'm kind of expecting some appreciation in the basis. So overall racks, we may not see a lot of changes. But again, I think there's some opportunity here how to trade that. So if you'd like some more information on this, we can go over the details on it. Talk the future side. If you've got any open contracts in place, we can talk some downside protection on open contracts. We can talk basis, getting a basis position in place. Just a lot of different ways that we can play this. So with that, thanks for listening, and if you want to talk about your gas positions, give us a holler and we'll be happy to go through them.